Gret Palucca, born Mararetha Palucca on the 8th of January 1902. Gret was a German dancer and dance teacher, notable for her dance school, the Palucca Schule of Tanz. Shortly after her birth, her family moved to San Francisco. She returned with her mother to Dresden in 1909. From 1917 to 1918, she attended Margareta Balsat's School for Upper-Class Girls in Dresden, and her ballet lessons were with Henrik Krüller from 1914 to 1916. From 1921, when she changed her name to Gret Palucca, and until 1923 she was studying with Mary Wigman and performed as member of her chamber dance group. In the 1920s and early 30s, modern dance flourished in Europe, particularly in Germany, and that some of the German choreographers were far more daring than their American counterparts. The most lauded was Mary Wigman, whose intensity led critics to label her as an expressionist. Palucca was Wigman's student, and although Palucca had taken some classical ballet lessons, she found ballet restrictive and in 1920 enrolled in Wigman's school in Dresden. Wigman recalled in an essay written later in life, "Among my first students was a narrow-hipped, boyish-looking girl, with a pert face framed by wild, reddish-blonde hair. Her name, Gret Palucca. An excellent dance temperament with a natural ability to jump such as I have never experienced again with any of the many dancers I have taught through the years. 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 To a comfortably bourgeois family in 1886, Wigman didn't begin formal training until she was 24, but after just 3 years studying the rhythmic gymnastic system of Emile Joaquez del Cruz and working with Rudolf Laban, Wigman created her first solo witch dance. In that short work, she began exploring the elements that would define her style, including the conviction that dance could be performed without music and that it could have the courage to be ugly. But even though Wigman's style was spread through Europe and America by students such as Hanya Holm, and even though elements of it can still be traced in the dance theatre of Pina Bausch, Wigman herself has slipped slightly below the radar, and one reason may be her relationship with the Nazi regime. Wigman was far more complicit with the Third Reich than her fellow choreographer Kurt Jooss, who left Germany in 1933. Her mentor, Rudolf Laban, also cut links, but not until 1938. While her early choreography was not to official taste, she was sufficiently in step with the early folk-inspired philosophy of the Reich to receive a commission to choreograph a mass Olympic youth dance for the 1936 Berlin Olympic Games. And while she was privately sympathetic to Jewish students in her Dresden school, she didn't rebel against orders to remove Jewish dancers from her company. Taught from her companies, from her company, from her company, taught from her company, from her company, taught from her companies, from her company, from her company, from her company, taught from her companies, from her company, from her company, from her company, taught from her companies, from her company, from her company, from her company, taught from her companies, from her company, from her company, penny, 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 penny. Mary Wigman's mentor Rudolf Laban, 1879 to 1958, was born in Austro-Hungary. Laban was a dancer, a choreographer, and a dance movement theoretician, one of the founders of European modern dance. His work was extended through his most celebrated collaborators, Wigman, Kurt Jooss, and Sigrid Lieder. Through his work, Laban raised the status of dance as an art form, and his explorations into the theory and practice of dance and movement transformed the nature of dance scholarship. In 1948, Laban began its life as the Art of Movement studio in Manchester and moved to Addlestone in Surrey due to the expansion in 1953. 5 years later, Rudolf Laban died in 1973. On the retirement of Lisa Ullman, Marion North became head of school, principal and director, followed by Bonnie Bird, artistic director, who joined the Art of Movement studio in 1974. The Art of Movement studio was renamed Laban Centre of Movement and Dance in 1975 and moved to new premises in New Cross, South East London.